Hello and welcome. Today we're in this undisclosed location that's most certainly not California, and thanks to Porsche Pasadena, we have this brand new, literally quite brand new Porsche Boxster base. This is an owner vehicle because, well, my parents' 991 is having cooling issues, but never mind that. Let's have a walk around. One thing you noticed, the word Boxster is imprinted onto the roof. This taller is in chalk. 265 rear section tires, I have no idea. 235 section fronts. It's a good looking car. And very new for an owner as well. I love the rear hunch of the Boxster. But I think it looks better as the Cayman looks better with rear hunch, but yeah. In my opinion, this is a better looking car than 911. Oh, and fun fact. Because it's mid-engine, it has a trunk. The way to open the trunk is, no keys in my hand, press the X on the bottom. I think you have to have the car off. Alright. I do think you do have to have the car off for this, so turn the car off. Walk into the back again. I'm going to press on the X of Boxster, and there pops the trunk. This is reasonable sized. You do have room on both sides, but obviously I don't think any human's gonna fit in here. There's no emergency trunk release here. You can add your coolant, your oil here, but the engine is obviously behind that thing. We can't really see it. Yeah, but look at how tricky it is. Press on the Boxster X to open the trunk. Of course, being a mid-engine car, there is also a frunk. Oops. This frunk is quite a lot larger and does have an emergency front opening release just in case you kidnap someone in here. But yeah, overall I love how the Boxster looks. It also looks so much better in terms of being a convertible than the 911 because it's designed to be a convertible. Alright, that side. Let's get in the car, start her back up again. You hear the roaring sound of the 2.5 liter turbocharged Boxster 4-cylinder. I believe it's 284 horsepower, 287 horsepower, but I'm not sure. I'll overlay the stats here right now. And I also don't know how many pounds-feet of torque, but you'll have read it in the stats. This engine, we'll talk about it more about it in the driving experience, but it feels really turbocharged and people doing wheelies. Alright, with that said, the inside is previous gen Porsche stuff. I love the cup holders situation, same as a 991. This door panel is straight out of a 991. This pretty much straight out of a 991. Air vents, I kind of like these air vents more than 991 air vents. Of course, you don't get the 5 gauges of a 911, instead you get the 3 gauges. And that's really about it. So let's go for a drive. Okay, now that we're on the drive, you can hear the very Subaru sounding engine. Of course, PDK is the only gearbox you can shift mid-corner and not mess up the balance of the car. But I don't have a lot of fuel left. First impressions, of course we have the roof done because it's a convertible, you gotta have the roof done, that's the rule. Oh, brakes are nice, Porsche brakes. The mid-engine chassis balance, you immediately notice it. It's so good. It makes me wonder why I don't have one of these. Not these, but like a Boxster. This car, what it has done to me, it made me really want a 987 Boxster S. Because the only thing I could really fault this car, or two things I could fault it for. One, the steering is a little bit dead. It's really direct and really sharp, much like every Porsche steering. But it's a little bit dead. And two, this engine is meh. That's how I'm gonna describe it. It's meh. It has a lot of power, and it most certainly pulls really hard. But it is so incredibly turbocharged. This engine is just so incredibly turbocharged that it's just it also just sounds so much like a Subaru. And there is noticeable turbo lag, especially in regular driving situations. Up here it's not as bad, but you do feel the turbo spool up and you get a sudden surge of power, much like right there. Shit, I'm so glad this still doesn't have any speed limits. But yeah, handling dynamic wise, everyone's gonna hate me for this, but this is so much more fun than any modern 911 I've driven. I'm sorry, but it just is. The car is smaller, it's easier to just throw it around, and it's so good. The mid-engine balance feels so much nicer than the 911 balance. Yeah. Alright, well, I'll pause for a bit and see if this truck will let us pass. Okay, now that we have waited a while, hopefully we'll give us some space. Let's talk more about the chassis and handling. Obviously, being a Porsche, the chassis is fantastic. It rotates nicely, has a little bit of limit on the steer, but it just rotates very nicely, and it goes exactly where I pointed to. And the smaller size contributes, making it more fun. This is 100% a more fun car than the 911, despite the engine noise. Now that's subjective, because I don't really think the 911s are actually that fun anymore. This feels more like my air-cooled 911 than the modern 911 does. And I kind of like that. It's so tossable. Yes, the steering doesn't really weigh up that well, and it kind of just feels over boosted. And even with a PDK, this thing is fun. So with a manual, it's probably going to be even better, especially given Porsche makes some of the best manuals. This is such a nice experience. And I love a two-seater roof-down roadster experience. And we're once again caught up with traffic. But I think you guys get the idea of how the Cayenne feels. It's just such a nice experience, this car. The car feels so direct, so controlled, but yeah, also so tossable. It's just capable of being thrown around very nicely. This is just definitely one of the lightest cars to drive on a Cayenne. Only time you should cross double yellows to let backers by. But dang. I was afraid this is gonna happen. I was afraid this is gonna make me really want a Boxster Spider, or really just a Boxster, older gen, the 91 or 97 with a 6-speed manual. How is this having that effect on me? Darn it. Realistic here. The steering is just a fault of every modern car. I can't fault it that hard for the steering. The only thing I can fault this a little bit for is the engine. But if you get a 981, you get a laterally aspirated fast 6 engine, and that solves my only problem with this car essentially. Wow. This car is so new, it just feels so light, everything in here. It's also because it's really new, but this is like 2 generations ago Porsche. I really hope these trucks will let me buy. Man, this is really frustrating. Well, that's most of the Cayenne inspections, the Cayenne impression that I have with this car, driving it all the way up as well. So I think what I'm going to do right now is pause the video, and I'll see you guys in the city and on the freeway. As you can see, we have the roof up, and it's honestly quite quiet in here. This is a really good car. You do have that massive blind spot over there, but never mind that. That's not a major issue. Driving around town, this car is brilliant. I don't know what it is, but I simply enjoy driving this more than driving a 911. And I hate to admit that, because I know the 911 is supposed to be the flagship of the Porsche world, but I don't know. Well, what I could do here is, I'm definitely not going 45 right now. That's not accurate at all. But here, well, actually later when we get on the freeway, you'll see a demonstration of what I mean by how turbocharged this engine is. But just driving around town like this, it's quiet, it's easy to deal with. There is a small rattle coming from right behind my back, my left shoulder. And this is a brand new car, so Porsche, questionable quality here. But anyways, the roof goes up quite fast, up and down quite fast, and suspension is subtle. This is a noticeably more comfortable car than the Type R. But then again, if I remember correctly, they weigh about the same, and this is a much smaller car than the Type R, so there's a lot more insulation here compared to the Type R. But yeah, over those tracks, it's subtle. Don't really feel anything. I think this ride's better than 911 too. It just... this car is so nice. I hate this about Porsche, because I feel like if Porsche wanted, they could make the ultimate Porsche sports car, which would be an ultimate version of the Boxster. But they can't, because they just cannot have a Boxster that's better than a 911. And that is just a little bit annoying to me. because I feel the potential this car has. And well, if you have a Boxster Spider RS, please let me film it, because now I really want to drive one of those. But PKK is not even that bad of a drawback. And I hate to admit this, as a die-hard manual enthusiast, I hate to admit that I'm having fun in a PDK. Manual is probably still more fun, but god damn it, this PDK is good. Brakes is easy to modulate around ton as well. It just, oh yeah, that sound, that's a seatbelt hitting on the side of the car. There's no seatbelt click, so every time you go over a bump, you're just gonna hear that. But this car is just so good. And it's not like the 911 or the Panamera. The Panamera is so good, but it's not fun because it's so insulated. This is well insulated, but still just fun. But I think also 90% of the fun of this car come from the fact that you can remove the roof. Here in SoCal, to make a car that you can remove the roof is just a lot more fun. This car is so nice. Roof goes up and down quite fast as well. Got heated, cool seats. Especially for a Nona car, this is really well optioned. You got sport Kono package and has some Porsche adaptive sport suspension system. This is really well optioned car. Of course, if I were to option one of these, I would have not gone for a black interior, which is really boring, and I would have not gone for the chalk color, but this is really nice. And you have your heated and heated steering wheel button here. Press on it, there's a steering wheel heater. Press on it again, turn it off. Pretty nice metal pedals. Correct shifting pattern. Up is down, down is up. Yeah. Well, let's get her on the freeway and we'll end the video from there. I mean, just, yeah, the only thing that bothers me with this car is how it sounds. It's just, don't get me wrong, there's nothing that wrong with how a Subaru sounds, but I wouldn't want my Porsche to sound like a Subaru. Now, we're not going to use the sport response button because it only has 246 miles. I don't really want to push on it that hard. But we'll still give it a little bit, merging onto the freeway. Alright, so this is what I mean by this engine isn't quite a big turbocharge. I'm going to put in a lower gear. I'm just gonna give it some throttle, and there's no power at him. Okay, well that downshifted because I give it a little bit more throttle. But especially from a standstill, it's really noticeable because you get no power and then all of a sudden a big surge of power. Start on a standstill from first gear. Let's check out the passing power. Oh yeah, definitely plenty of passing power here. Here on the freeway, this cabin is really quiet. In fact, I think it's even quieter than the 911's cabin. It's well insulated, the ride is good. This is a great daily driver if you don't mind not having adaptive cruise control and lane centering assist. It's a much quieter cabin than the Type R cabin, that's for sure. It rides nicer than Type R. This is funny, because this sports car, one weighs about the same as the Type R if I remember correctly, and it's more comfortable than the Type R. But it is in fact just a really nice car to drive. Well, now on my brain is thinking about buying a Boxster. You do hear the turbo. The intake is right behind your door, so you do get to hear the turbo noise a little bit. And a little bit blow off. Yeah, this is indeed just a really nice car to drive. Well, I think that concludes the video. As always, go drive your cars and have a really nice day.